So today we're going to be looking at, I don't know if I'll share my screen. Okay. So good everyone. Today we're going to be looking at Powerpivot. So just a quick introduction into Powerpivot. My name is Ifeanyi. I'm also going to be moderating today's session. So the Excel Learning and Data Analysis webinar is being brought to you by UrBizEdge, and UrBizEdge is a registered Microsoft consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analysis, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. They're also the developers of the Nigerian financial market tool, which you can find on the Microsoft Office store. So these are the trainings for the upcoming training calendars. Most of the trainings upcoming are for financial modeling. Then a quick introduction about me. My name is Benny Ifeanyi Iheagwara. I'm a data analyst and business intelligence analyst with UrBizEdge. I'm also a technical writer with Gig for Gig, eSubscribe. Also a content creator who enjoys teaching. Also a open source contributor. I'm also the community manager for the Excel Learning community and the Power BI learning community, and also again the financial modeling and validation community. And this is my Twitter handle. So without further ado, we're going to move it to Powerpivot. Okay, so since I'm the one going to moderate and also present, I'm going to go to the chat box, and I would unmute those in attendance at the moment. Okay, so if you have any question, you could just unmute and ask a question, since I can't really keep up with the chat conversation as well as the also teaching at the same time. Okay. But so far, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
all right. All right, thank you. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at Powerpivot. What are we looking at Powerpivot? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Powerpivot. Okay, so Powerpivot is a data analysis and data modeling add-in, which you can find in Excel. With this screenshot, you can, if you are familiar with Excel, you probably see if you have this icon on your Excel. So the good thing about Powerpivot is very similar to Pivot Table. I guess everybody have an idea of Pivot Table, at least have heard of Pivot Table. Pivot Table allows you to summarize your data. So Powerpivot it allows you to also get data from various sources, from Excel, from a text file, even from databases. And it can use to create data model, and it has Power and Pivot Table capability. And with your Pivot Table capability, you can also now visualize your data using your pivot chart. So the good thing about Powerpivot, or like your regular design, like I mentioned, you can analyze data from various sources, even from different tables, which is something you can do in regular pivot table. You can also get massive amount of data. Like we know Excel allows you to get 1 million and something rows. With Powerpivot, go up to 3 million rows of data. You can also analyze it in Excel. You can also build data models. You can also create calculations, create measures, create chart, visualize your data sets, and get a summary of that large data with Powerpivot. So I'm going to move to Powerpivot. Okay, so today we have 3 different data sets we're going to be working with. Okay, so these are our 3 data sets. We have 3 different tables. This table has our different products and the revenues or the cost of each of these products. This order table has the orders. These are our customers or our customers ID or our distributor ID. The ID, the order ID, the number of guess I got delete this one then. I think it's the same thing. Okay, these are the products. These are all the products. These are the units sold of the product, and these are the dates when this transaction took place. For the last table, we have our distributors. So we have 5 distributors. These are their names, their location, their the local government, the states, and the country of origin, or the country they're located in. Okay, so if we take this data now, and I want to create a copy of this data, and I want to move it to a new workbook. So I'll show you if we're doing this with a regular Excel workbook, a regular pivot table. Okay, so this is the new table. This is the new workbook. So if you are going to do this with regular pivot table, you would have done your control, or even just pick one, go to a pivot table, what is the new worksheet, and with this, and then you know how you use a pivot table where you can put your customer's ID, you can put the amount, or make it this amount sold and others. But with this table, this data only doesn't give you this customer IDs or these distributors IDs. You don't have the information because these are on a different table here. These are the IDs here, which you don't have, which doesn't show your order table. So if you're trying to maybe like bring this into your new table, you have to probably use a VLOOKUP to do a VLOOKUP to join these two tables together, and then you have to probably use a VLOOKUP again to also so these are the unit price of where these items are sold, and the amount that we sell them for are on our product table. So we have 3 different tables here, which have 3 different information. So if you wanted to do a pivot, use pivot table to do this, you have to use VLOOKUPs to get one big master table that has every information possible that you want. And most times it could be difficult for you to be concatenating, or merging merging these different tables together. But because as you know, your pivot table, your regular pivot table only allows you to get data only from one particular data source, which is just this table. So if you wanted to get this, either you create a table here where you do a VLOOKUP to whenever it sees this, it looks for it in that table and gives you the actual names for this customer IDs of 1, 2, 3. Or you have to, that's the way you have to do it. Either you just do that, you have to use a VLOOKUP, or you have to use your Power Query and try to merge the two tables together. But with pivot table, these data can all be in their different data source, and you can all join them together. This is something that if maybe you're familiar with Power BI, which you normally do with Power BI. So with Power Pivot, you can get something similar to that, just like you have Power BI, so have different tables, and you can use your Power Pivots to get you don't need to have one master table. You guys Power Pivot to connect all these tables together and analyze the data using your regular pivot table. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open a fresh Excel worksheet, or a new Excel worksheet. Okay. Okay, so do everybody have Power Pivots on the Excel workbook? Power Pivots?
No.
No. Okay,
I've tried putting it on Mac and I haven't managed to do so.
You have it on your Mac?
I've tried to install it on Mac
and install it on Mac. You were unable to do so.
Okay, yeah.
So so let me just show you how to get it. So to get Power Pivot, you can open your Excel workbook, go to File, click on File, click on Options. In another version, maybe call something different from Options, but click on either Excel Options or Options, as long as it brings up these 2 dialog box. Where you get this, you go all the way to Add-ins. Add-ins here. So you remember at the beginning, I mentioned that it's an add-in in Excel. It's not like an add-in is basically like more of like a feature of the app, but it's not something that was inbuilt in Excel originally. So if you notice, you should probably see it here. Mine is not going to be showing here since it's not going inactive. I already have it on my Excel right now. It just should be showing here. You should see Power Pivot, Microsoft Excel, maybe Power Pivot, like how you see Microsoft Excel Power Map. So, and again, it's also a COM add-in. So you go to Manage here, click on this and click on COM add-in and click on Go. And go to your Power Pivot and just stick it. And when you're done, you press OK. Give it a few minutes and you should see Powerpivot here. Okay, that's clear. So once you have installed Powerpivot or you have installed it in your Excel workbook, you should see Powerpivot here. So the Powerpivot, there's one here. You see it here. You can also find it in data, which is this Powerpivot windows. Okay, so once you have that, you have Powerpivot. If we click on this manage, it should open this. This is Powerpivot. So this is Powerpivot. Okay, so now the first thing we want to do, we have three different data sources, which is this. We have these three different files. We need to get three of them in. You said? Hello? I can't hear you. You can't see my screen. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, can you see it now? Okay. Okay, so once you have installed Powerpivot in your Excel, the next thing you're going to do is get the data in Excel. But like I mentioned earlier, Powerpivot allows you to get large data from various sources. So you must always get data from Excel. It could be data in your CSV file, in a text file. A CSV file is a text file, or even from a database. And most time your data could be more than 1,048,576. So you have data of 2 million. So you can't really get them into Excel. This way Powerpivot can also help you to do that. Okay, so the first thing you do, you click on manage. When you click on manage, you see here from databases. So you can get from an SQL server, from access service, from even Powerpivot, even from other data sources like OB data. And we're going to use this one from other data sources. If you scroll down, you'll see a list of all different data sources you can get from. And you also see this Excel file. So the file we're using is an Excel file by extension. You can see it's an Excel workbook. So we're going to pick Excel workbook. If it was a CSV file, we'll pick a text file. So we'll click on Excel workbook, click on next. We look for the file parts and we get the file. So let's get the first one, distribution XD. Press OK. And we use the first row as our headers. Click on next. Okay, so the file is at the moment is being opened, so I need to close them all. So I'll close this. Let's save. Okay, so I've closed it now. So let me go back. Next, this is the file, first next. Okay, so there's the final distribution XD. When I'm done, I can do a preview to see if this what we're doing is correct. So this is correct. I press OK and I press finish. I press close. And the file right now is in my Excel workbook. So now it's in Powerpivot waiting for me. Okay, so we can also do it again to import the next one, but let me show you. You can also click on from other sources again and import the next one, but there's another way of you also import it in Powerpivot. So let me show you how you do that. The other way to do that is using Power Query. The next webinar is about Power Query, so we'll touch on Power Query. So it's using Power Query. So Power Query is this it's for data analysis, this is for data transformation. So your data cleaning, it helps you clean your data in a very robust and very fast way. So we're going to just go to data and click get data. We can do launch Power Query editor. So launch our Power Query editor because it's a Power Query editor. We want to get data from this source. Okay, so we'll go to new source. We're going to file, we're going to an Excel workbook. And this file is in my desktop. We've gotten the first one, so we'll get the second one, which is our orders. We click on orders, we click on import. And now we have it in Power Query. So if the file adds some problem. So let's select this one. I press OK. As you can see, this our header is supposed to be here. So I can just use his first plus headers. So if the file has some, so you have to do some cleaning on the file. You can do the cleaning on the file as you want to. But once you are done with the cleaning on the file, you click on close and load. But you click on this second option, close and load too. Because we want to get into Powerpivot. So we're going to create adding into our data model, and we want it as a connection in our data model. So press OK. So this is a second way of getting a file in Powerpivot. So now we'll go to Powerpivot. We click on Manage. We have seen the first one here, which is one we brought before. And we go to the sheet one here. You see the others, which is what I brought now from Powerpivot. From Power Query. I can also rename it here and call it others. Okay, and so I can change the query if I want to rename it. So I come back here, go to edit, and I come here and I go to others. So rename. Okay, so I do it again. Okay, so when I'm done, I close it. Keep. I go back to Power Query, Powerpivot, and I open it. So the next one, I want to bring the last file, which we have. I go back to an Excel file. I click on Next, I browse, and I pick the last one, which is our products, and I press OK. And I also want to use the first to last my headers. Click on Next. I can give it a preview to look if what I'm doing is correct. This looks alright. Press OK, and I press Finish. And once I'm done, I close it. So now we have the 3 different files all here. Okay, so now we have 3 different files all here. So this is just the first step of us getting our data in, of us doing the using Powerpivot to analyze our data. We have gotten our data source into Powerpivot. The next thing we now need to do is, so the next thing you need to do in Powerpivot, like I mentioned, the limitation of Excel. Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, sorry. Can you see my Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah, this up. Is there a question? Yes, the recording will be available on the YouTube. I would post the YouTube link. So can you hear me clearly now? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to want to show you how to do some analysis. Is it?
The voice has dropped a lot.
Oh, okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, better now.
It's better now. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some calculations. I'll show you what I mean by calculations, what I mean by measures, and then we'll see how we can use how to bring it into into Power Table. It's Powerpivot. So into pivot table. Yeah, into pivot table. Okay, so we have this here, which shows us our distributors and their names. We have our orders here, which shows all our orders. And if you notice, these are the units sold, but we don't know how much our orders are sold. If you notice, our dates here is showing dates here as numbers, not as dates. So we can change it to give us straight as a date. Okay, so I bought this one. This was when I bought in I go back to my Power Query. Okay, I'll make it here to be a date. Okay, so when I'm done, close and load. Okay. Okay, so I go back to. Okay, so this is now. Okay, so our dates are here now. This looks all right. I don't know why it's showing this. It's supposed to just show those dates. Okay, yeah, this is better. Okay, so now I want to calculate our sales. So we know that this is how much this is the amount that was sold. The different products are located in this table. So I mentioned if you're going to use a regular pivot table, you have to do a lot of concatenating, a lot of merging, a lot of VLOOKUP. So you can get one big master table. But with Powerpivot, you don't need to do this. So we just have to use formula which we call DAX. So we just have to use DAX to do this. So if you're familiar with Power BI, this is where the language of Power BI, this is where DAX comes in place. So it's just me data analysis expression. So if I go back to manage, I come to sales, I do here equals to, and I use this formula called related. So I'm trying to bring a column that is on a different sheet. So the related table I'm trying to bring is in our product. If I go to product, so I click on product. So it goes to, I go to products. So products revenues, closes brackets times the units sold. But before I can do this, I think I need to create relationships because these tables they're not yet all connected to themselves. So for you to create relationships, you need to for your data view, go to the diagram view. So I click on diagram view. So diagram view shows us all our 3 tables which we have brought in, and now we need to create a relationship for them. So most of the time when you're creating a relationship, you drag it from a facts table to your lookup table, or from the one that's from many to one. That is usually how you create a relationship in summary. So for us to do that, we're going to, in our ID number here, and this customer IDs here and customer IDs, or they're both the same thing. So I've created this. Okay. The next thing, I need to find a way to connect my orders and my products, and they're all connected by the product. So I just combine these two together, and I can go back to my data view. So if I go back to my data view, now I can clear this and let me write it. So related, I go to products revenue times my unit sold. Okay, so these are our sales. This is how much each sales was worth. Okay, so we have this now. This is how much each sales was worth. And that's how you create your. We can also change the format. So like here is showing this. If you want to make it maybe show Naira, for example, we can come here to more formats and give it currency. Okay, so this here. Okay. So now we have this. Okay, so this how to use this way of creating the DAX, using DAX to do this. We can also do it for our revenue here. Also change the format to also give us our format. It will come again and we'll pick this we'll pick here. So okay, so now we're done with this. Okay, so now we have all of this. Okay, so now we have our orders, we have this. So the next thing we can do, now let me show you a measure. So what I've done now, we've created a new column in this order sheet using DAX and using related to connect, because this column is on a different table. So now let me show you the idea of measures. So what we've done is similar to Power BI's idea of new columns. So now we're going to create a new measure. So we're going to create measures. So the idea of measures are just usually single, or usually just one, usually just a total, or like it's usually just one, like just a one figure, one that gives you a summary of everything. So like if we're asking for like what is the sum of our sales, it's also some of this is maybe 1 million. That's just one, just a million. It's not going to give you multiple tables. So similar to when you have, for example, let's say we have this product. Let's say this app, for example. And here we have maybe this is the unit price of our product. This is the amount, the quantity that was bought. And the unit price was this 120. Someone bought here 2, someone here bought 5. If I come here and I say I want to find out, so this is here maybe this amount we actually made our sales, which is going to be well, this times this. So a measure is similar to me having like, what is the total sum of all our sales? 100. So this is similar. This is like similar to the idea of a measure. So to create a measure, there are two ways of creating a measure using Power, using there are two ways of creating a measure. Go to Powerpivot here. You'll see measures here. You can click on measures, click on new measures. And when you click on it, you write measures. So we're clicking a measure from our distributor. Let's say we want to have a measure that shows us the total number of distributions we have. What is the total number of our distributors? I can come here and call this our measure, give it a name. The name here is going to be called number of distributors, maybe. So number of distributors. And for my formula here, I'm going to just use a simple count distance. So I'm having a distant count of distance, and I'm going to go to our distributors' names, and I close the bracket, and I press OK. So this is it. If I want to see this measure, if I go back to my Power Pivot, I go here to distributors. I see it here, number of distributors. And if I come here and I drag it, number of distributors is 5. So that's one way of creating a measure. Another way of creating a measure, I can also create it here in Power Pivot. So for example, let me say I want to create a measure for a total number of sales, for example. I can come here and do equals to. So I'm going to do like the sum of what? This is our order sales. So sum of everything in this particular column. So sum of our orders, which is table name, and sales, which is the column's name. I close the bracket and I press enter. So it calls it a measure y equals to this. So when it gives me this, I can come here and collect this our total sales. Our sales right now is this. What happens? So this total sales is equals to this. So see it clearly, I just drag it, and this is this. I can also give my measure a format, like I gave the other ones. The measure is going to be, the format is going to be the same Naira as before. And I'm going to pick the first one and press OK. Okay, so this now, I've created a measure of this. So you can also create a lot more measures. Maybe you want to find out what is the total number of units sold, for example. I also just come here and do a sum of units sold. Okay, so there's a problem. Okay, it's a text. I didn't change it to all numbers. Come back here, go back to Power Query. My data types, this is a text, this is not a text, this is a whole number. Close and load. Now I go back to Power Pivot. Go back to Power Pivot. Yeah, I got it here now. So it didn't work the first time because it was a text. So I just need to come here again, and again I change it here to give me the sum of, or let me say this is the total units sold. Okay. So while I'm getting it, you can also create another measure for as much tables or as much as you want. If you want to measure to maybe find out how many products you have, you can also create a measure here to give you a number of products you have. So once you're done with your, once you're done with creating your measures, or you want to create a new column or anything, you just close Power Pivot. So the next one I'm going to do now is to open a new sheet, for example. Let me just call it this. Now I want to show you the the pivot table capability of Powerpivot. So the first thing we're going to do now, so I've created everything there in measures. We can go, how you create a pivot table. To create a pivot table, you just go to your insert pivot table. But now we're not to click this because our data is actually not here with us. Data is actually in a data model. Data is a data model, which is just a collection of different tables and how they are related to each other. So we're going to add data in the data model. So the first thing we'll do, go back to insert, but usually we'll click this down arrow button. I'll click here from data model. We'll click from data model. We're clicking in a new sheet. Okay. Okay, so no need for the sheet then. So this is the sheet we're going to use. Now this is going to be our, let me call this our data. Just like in pivot table, but if you notice now you can see up to 3 different tables here. We have our distributor tables, we have our orders tables, we have the product tables, and from each product and from each table we can get all the details from each of them. This was the measure we created the first time, number of distributors. If I go to my order table, you see the 2 measures we created there here. So the measures are not really in your table. They're actually more efficient and more faster since it's just a single data and you can use it also in a pivot table. So why you can see your pivot tables, for example, is if I go now to my products table, for example, and I click on products and I keep products in rows. So it has the exact same function just like your regular pivot table. It has these 4 different quadrants which you can play around with. So you put your product now in this and you can go back here and our total sales. Instead of using these sales in values, like I use my total sales here and put it in values and it breaks it down for me. You can also again create more this. So for example, I have this and let me say I also want to have another table again. Yeah. And with this, you can also create, so now I can create a dashboard. So for this, I can create a dashboard that shows, like that gives me a dashboard from this data, and they're all from different tables. They're all from different tables. So that's also actually one of the really beauty about this Powerpivot. You can have different tables from multiple data sources, and no matter the size of the data sources, are they? Let me go to the questions for now. Okay, yeah. So you have a question. You can speak, Ibrahim. Hello, Ibrahim. Ibrahim. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Your screen is not visible. I can't see anything. I've not been able to see. It's just showing me one pause sign.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if others are able to see.
So, have everybody able to see?
Yes, I can see you presently on. Yeah, you shared again.
Yeah, I've shared it again. Ibrahim, can you see it now? Hello, can you see it now? Okay. Okay. Then, so unit set format change. Yeah, yes, that was the problem. I just need to change the format of unit sets to numbers. I should have in Power Query. I didn't do all that. So why do you need to make changes in Power Query before you get them in Powerpivot? Is it due to the fact that the delete tables from Power Query? If so, maybe better to get data directly into Powerpivot. Okay, yes. So there are sometimes that you might not just want to load the data directly into Powerpivot. So for example, if you remembered, so for example, I'm getting data from a data source, even from a colleague, and data is not clean. In Powerpivot, in Powerpivot, yeah, I don't have the ability to correct that mistake the person made. So if someone has made a mistake here, like for example, even not this word, this is actually a very small mistake. A mistake in which maybe, for example, let's say the date was actually date and name, or the person who made a mistake even in the naming system, or the person spelled maybe like Lagos, lag, Lasgidi, and like different iteration of Lagos. If you look around there, there's actually no way for me to correct that problem. So I can't correct that problem if I've directly load it directly into Powerpivot. So most of the time, you might actually want to load it in Power Query here, where you have the ability to actually correct any mistake that was made. And then from here, you can load it directly into Powerpivot and make your pivot table. So that's how I was trying to show you the 2 different ways why you might need to do that. And yes, since they're loaded from Power Query, whenever I had to make a formatting problem or I had to change something in my data, I had to go to Power Query and make changes, save the changes, which is by doing the close and load, so that it will actually show on Powerpivot, because I bought it directly from Power Query. Then, okay, so it's not on Mac. we need to check if you can get it from Mac. I don't know if it's on Mac. Okay, so yeah, you're right. Mac does not have Powerpivot functionality root. So this Mac does not have this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
So, but everything you're doing now in Powerpivot is very similar to what Power BI can do in terms of the modeling aspect. Though Power BI is a bit more advanced than this, but it's like the building block of it. Then, okay, yeah. So when you change the data to Power Query, can you update the changes to Power Query with a new Powerpivot? I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Okay, this. What will happen if you what will happen if you choose to load to Powerpivot? Okay, I'll answer this, but let me answer this. Refresh. I don't understand what you mean. Else, LA. Okay. Hello. Okay, so you can unmute. I'm not sure I understand the question. Hello. I've omitted you so you can pick, but okay, for what I understand is that you're asking if maybe if you make a changes in Powerpivot, will you need to go to Power? You need to come here to refresh or something. That's what I'm guessing that you mean. So whenever I make a changes here in Powerpivot, let me go back here. Powerpivot. So whenever I make a changes in Power Query here, for example, so let me make a change. Let me say, for example, I duplicate this column. Okay, and I decided to, for example, replace sugar. I decided to replace sugar with, for example, maybe sweet. I press OK. Let me call this fake later. Okay, so first I do this. So the minute I click on close and apply, close and load, and I go back to, it loads the data, and initially it should just automatically be in Powerpivot immediately. This is it. So I don't really need to click any refresh or anything. Except maybe I'm getting from a live database, I might need to maybe click a refresh. But this is it. Then okay. So what will happen if I choose to load the data in Powerpivot? What will happen if you choose to load Powerpivot? Okay, so let's find out what will happen. So again, I go back to data. For example, let me say I come here and I click on load Power Query editor. Okay, so this is the data I had before. I go to new source, file, Excel workbook. Let me say I'm loading the same orders again, import. Okay, the same sheet, press OK. Okay, so if I'm loading this, for example, let me call this and when I'm trying to close it, maybe I use first solar headers. I make this, let me correct that mistake. I correct this back to give me whole numbers. My date should be date. Then now I want to close and load this. That do close to load. So, but if I click on pivot table reports or pivot chart, so this should just load it as a pivot table, and you see it loads it directly as a regular pivot table. That's what it does. So now it's just a regular pivot table, but I don't have access to the other data source that I did. So the reason why you do that close and load, why you do the close and load? The close and load it to your data model. When you click on close and load to a data model, it will bring it to Powerpivot. Then when I was doing my close and load in the first time, I close and load to pivot to a data model, but I also made it to do only as a collection, only as a connection. So the other connection makes sure that the data doesn't get loaded into like my Excel worksheets. So I'm assuming that, for example, here it's just 700 words, but what if maybe the rows were up to 2 million rows? It will load everything here, and when it gets to the what Excel card contains, cut out the other ones and does like discard them in the sense of it. So that's the reason why I loaded this as a connection, and also does as data model loads it to Powerpivot. This is called the data model. As a connection, make sure that it only loads it as a connection. So I don't physically see it on my Excel worksheet. It's my Excel. It's just not. I just want to can see my Excel worksheet out here. Open my this thing. So I'll do my data model. That's why I made sure that it allows to bring large data source. That was the first advantage of it. These large data sources. In case you have like from a database and you have up to 3 million rows, you don't have to load this connection. You don't have to worry about loading it as a file in Excel. Okay. Are there any other questions? Yeah. Okay. So now that you have it here now that it's here, I can close this. I can go back to my workbook. I can delete this. Yeah, delete this one. I can go back to this edit. I can come back here to this and just delete it. Yeah, close and load. And when I click close and load, it should load and automatically it just appears in here as what we have before. Okay, so measures are very they don't carry so much space, and they give you the same capability of you having a new table. Of you having just like you're having a new column, it's just not actually a column. So with this, I can make a dashboard. So for example, here I have the sales of all our products here. So let me say I also want to have maybe our distributors and how much we actually make from them. So distributor ID. So not the ID, this time I'm going to use the name. Remove this, just like your regular pivot table. On evaluate, this is how much we make from each of them. And I don't even need to do this. Let me say, for example, I'm really looking for, okay. Okay, this last one, let me say I want to see okay, each product, and instead of this, I want to say maybe okay, let me say I want to see the dates. And I want to say, for example, maybe the sales. Okay, so let me say, so just like a pivot table, you also get all of this. You can get a pivot chart. You also have the same capability as a pivot table where I can move the grand total if I want to move the grand total. I can change the color if I want to. I can also draw a pivot chart. Okay, sorry. Okay, I can also draw a pivot chart. So I can come here and draw a pivot chart, delete this. So for example, let me say I have this now, part of my dashboard. Well, let me leave it here for now. So I can also come here and go to my pivot table, analyze pivot chart, also join for this. Okay, then here is the product and this is also total sales. So I change it to the unit sold. Okay, so these are the units sold. So I come here, for example, and I come here and I do pivot table and even this is the units sold. Okay, so let me say I will have one last one. Let me see if this will work. And but this time, what I have is not any of this. What I have is instead the addresses and the unit sold. So let me say, for example, let me say goods get this or who the okay. So let me save. So I come here and go to pivot charts. And for example, let me save map. Okay, I can say map pivot. Okay. I have this, and this. I cut everything, and first of all, I go to my dashboard and I paste it here. So I have this. You can also change the name. This is unit sold products. This one is the sales. And this one is also this. That shows us the trend. Okay, so let me say I have all of this now. Okay, then I can also make something like a slicer. So a slicer is kind of almost like a filter, just not a filter, but it allows you to select specifically what you want. And you see with the slicer now, I can get a slicer for almost all my tables. If I come to like I say all my tables here, and I can pick a slicer for it. So I can pick a slicer for even let me say for local government area. I also want a slicer for maybe the products names, and also the slicer for only for these two, for the product names and yes, okay. So I do okay. So it's like I've got a slicer from multiple tables, which is something you cannot do with a regular pivot table. And I can come here and I can click for caffeine and everything just shows me. So right now, only this one changed. This one didn't change. So I need to come here and go to report connections and connect all of them together. Okay. Yeah, so now everything changed. I come here again, report connection, and select these ones. Press OK. Okay. So with this, you can actually create. So for multiple tables, you don't need to even join all your tables together. You can just have everything in one place and pick what you want. So that's all on pivot table. A quick beginning. Right. So are there any questions? Any more questions? Hello. Guess I'm on. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we'll end the data set. Data set is I saw a data set online and I had to change it a bit, but I can upload it when I'm uploading the video. The video will be available on on YouTube. Yeah, so when I'm uploading it in the description, I'll put the data set as part of it. So there's the YouTube link. Very nice. So thank you. So how did you arrive at the link? How did you arrive at the link, the pivot table with the table? How did I arrive at the link to link the pivot table to the table? Okay, so I did like technically link it. So I brought the data from pivot table and I joined it on like when I got from pivot table, I connected it to thank you, Elijah. So let me just show you what I quickly did. Okay, so I come here and I come here. So I show you that from your pivot table, go to manage. And from here, you can use other source and bring in Excel sheets if you want to pick it directly into pivot table. But there's sometimes that your data could be not clean and you want to bring it into pivot table. So to do that, you have to go to insert. So you go to data, and this is where your Power Query is. So Power Query, you go to get data, you go to launch Power Query editor. And your Power Query editor, here you see new source. So my new source, I go to Excel workbook this time and I pick the source I want. So if I pick, for example, the next webinar, we're going to use, Power Query. So for example, I'm bringing this. I say I press import. Okay, so you see this stuff is not, the data is okay. And I said I'm using first tool as headers. And minutes when I'm doing this close and load, I'll close and load 2. And I'll pick only connection. Only connection means it's only going to come as a connection. So it's only going to show here in this download board, but it's not going to show in my actual Excel workbook. If I click as table, it will show you in my Excel workbook. And so let me pick table, and then you see add data to a database. So I add data to your data model. My data model, when they say data model, they're referring to Powerpivot. And when I press OK, you see this one is going to load directly here. It loaded here, exactly. And if I go here to Powerpivot, it's got to my data model, which is this. So this is it in my data model. So if I come and I change anything I do and I change here, for example, I come here and I do, okay, let me say here is equals to whatever is here times this 0. I go back to manage. Okay, it didn't show you. So I maybe create maybe a new column. For example, let me say I'm adding a new column. I'm calling this maybe okay. So I'm using the column I'm using is my quality, my quantity. So my quantity plus, let me say plus 2000. Let me press okay. So whatever I do here in my Power Query, I close and load it. Okay, so you see now, the minute I click on manage, it appears in Powerpivot. So what I do in Power Query takes place in this Powerpivot dataset. So that was like how it was linked. It was not like it was linked. So it's just linked together by default. All right, thank you. Our next webinar in 1 hour time. That's one about Power Query. So the next webinar is about Power Query. So you got RSVP for that session. The session starts by 6 o'clock. And this is the link. So talk about this Power Query that we're using here to clean data in more details, and how you guys it exactly to clean your data sets. Because every data we used here were relatively already clean. We didn't really do much. We just had to change data type. So we see how to like data that is not cleaned, how we can actually work on it using Power Query. Okay, so thank you. And the webinar will be available by tomorrow on the YouTube channel. Could check out UrBizEdge and and this is a feedback form. So if there's a topic you want us to talk about or a particular speaker you want us to bring, you could just fill it on the form and we'll try to get this person to come on the show. All right, so see you by 6 o'clock in 1 hour time. Right now, bye-bye.